Hi, I'm Daniel with eTrailer, and today I'm going to be installing the Firestone Ride-Rite Red Label Extreme Duty Helper Springs on the 2025 Chevy 3500. If you're somebody who hauls varying weight items in your bed or has a camper, then these airbags are probably for you. They're super robust and can withstand up to 7,500 pounds. That's not to say that's added on to the load capacity of your truck. Definitely go with what your truck can handle. But these things are gonna serve you well if, like our neighbor today, he has an in-bed camper. So he will probably be adjusting these for what he's needing. If he's having the trailer out one day, he'll decrease them. Their minimum PSI is 5, and they can go all the way up to 150 PSI. This kit does provide you with a manual fill, but you can add a compressor if you want to. We are actually adding a compressor on this vehicle. But yes, it does have a manual fill inlet right there. Ours today we ran as a single path configuration, but the kit does come as a dual path, so that meaning that you can set each bag to different PSIs if needed. So the great thing about these bags is that they're going to improve drivability, they're going to improve your braking. As you can see, the old jounce bumper is a lot smaller, so they'll really only do anything if you bottom out your bed. So having these will also prolong your suspension systems in your car too. The installation of these bags is pretty straightforward. It is actually the first time I've installed these. I found that it is pretty simple. There are a lot of parts to it, but it is all bolt-on. There is no drilling, so it's very low invasive to the vehicle. If you don't have the time or are not able to install them yourself, feel free to go on our dealer locator and we'll find someone to install them for you. All right, and if you're ready to take a look on how this is installed, I'll go ahead and get started. So today we are going to be using a lift to get under our vehicle, but if you don't have a lift and you're doing this at home, make sure to chalk the front wheels and have a floor jack on standby. And we'll go ahead and drop that spare tire down. It's just going to give us more space under the vehicle to run our lines and get to where we need to get to. Another thing we're going to go ahead and remove from the vehicle is this heat shield. It's just going to make it a lot easier to get to where we need to get to for the install. Now you're going to go ahead and want to remove your old jounce bumpers. You can do it with your hand, or if they're a little tight, you can come in here with a pry bar and get those off. Now we're going to go ahead and assemble our assemblies here. They are not side specific, so you don't have to worry about that. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start. Put that on there. These will go on there. And then just you want to loosely tighten these nuts on. All right, and then these black bolts will go in this way, head facing this curved metal piece. And then get those pretty loosely tight. It's gonna help you when you put it on the vehicle if they're very loose. Now that we got these assembled, you can go ahead and install them. Like that. And now you can just hand tighten these black screws we had installed, or bolts rather, so it can stay up there while we get our tools. Now I'm going to go ahead and tighten both of these sides up. You just want to make sure that the spacing on both sides is relatively the same. I'm going to go ahead and use a 7/16 deep well socket and get these tightened up here. Now, if the head of our bolt does move, I do have a 5/8 just in case, so I can put that on there if it's spinning. Install this bottom plate on your airbag. It's easy to just remove this piece because you're going to want to compress it later on in order to put it into place. So you want to take your flat head bolt here and just get that loosely tightened. I'm going to go ahead and compress this and get it into place. If you're not using a lift, you can go ahead and jack up this bed, and that'll create a lot more space for you to work in here. But yeah, go ahead and compress that down and get that into place. As you can see, you got this nub protruding out of the top of this airbag here, and you're wanting to get that in this middle hole. So when you put it up there and you get it in the first notch, you can move it slightly until it clicks, and now you know you got it in the middle. So once you got it in the middle, you can get a paint marker and make some lines for alignment. Just so I don't have to find it again, I'll put one there. And then one on the bottom here to align the bag with this bottom plate. Went ahead and took this side off, and now we're going to want to tighten that hex head bolt on the bottom there with our lines aligned. Now I'm going to go ahead and use a 7/32 hex bit and tighten these bottom bolts down. Now I'm going to go ahead and put these hook spring mounts on. So for the front here, you just kind of want to put it up under these wires. Make sure you don't pinch anything and hook it on that metal. Then you want to get your carriage bolt, put it through the top, and your corresponding nut, and loosely tighten it into place. And on this back side, you just want to do the same thing you did in the front. Getting your tooth washer, putting that on top there, and putting your nut, screwing that on. And then getting your air fitting and screwing that on the very top. Now this side is going to be a little different since you got this exhaust here. This side comes with a heat shield in the kit. And how you put that on is you want to compress the air bag, slip that on, and then get this adjusted to where you want it, about there, just to protect it from the heat of the exhaust. So now you just want to get your hardware and install it exactly the same like we did on the other side. Once you got everything hand tight, you can go ahead and start tightening everything down. I'll start with these hex head bolt up here. I just got a corresponding Allen key, and the top is a 9/16. So you want to put that on there. And then get them nice and tight. I'm going to go ahead and do the same on the two in the back. So for these bottom bolts here, it's the same 9/16 wrench. I'm going to go ahead and tighten these down. Make sure to alternate between the two just so they tighten up evenly. Now I'm going to go ahead and tighten this big nut on top of here. I will be using an 1 1/8" wrench here. Keep in mind to make sure that while moving it around and adjusting things, you didn't move that pin out of that middle hole. So I'm going to go ahead and tighten this down now. Now once we got that tight, tighten up our push connector. That's going to connect to our airline. So I'm going to get my 9/16 socket here and tighten that down. So keep in mind to just tighten it to where those orange threads are hidden. Don't over tight because this piece can crack. You can always come back later to tighten it more if needed. What I've done here is I put in our valve right there that's connected to our airline. So make sure you get some tube cutters when you are connecting these to the valve. It gets you a nice clean cut to push that in so there's no leaks. So coming under the vehicle, I've routed this up above this cross member here. Just keep in mind, keep it away from any moving parts, any heat sources, anything like that. Comes into our T-union here. We have a single output because we're going to be doing a compressor later on. You can pick this part up at etrailer.com if you are deciding to do a single output. If not, it does come with the compressor if you're going to install that as well. So on this side, we made sure to put this heat sleeve over the airline, just where the exhaust is, just to protect that from any heat. And so once you get everything zip tied up, all secured, now we're ready to give it a test. Fill the bags up with air so we can test them. Got my soapy water solution here, and I'm going to go ahead and spray it on these fittings. So if there's any big bubbles bubbling up, you know you have a leak and you need to fix that. So it looks like we're good on that fitting, and I'm going to go ahead and just do all the rest. So once you've tested all your fittings and they're all good, you're good to put the spare tire back up, the heat shield back up, and you're good to go. If you do find a leak, make sure to bleed that valve out of air, disconnect your hose where it's leaking, give it a snip if that's what's causing the issue, and put it back in there tightly and fill it back up with air and retest. All right, and that was a look at the Firestone Ride-Rite Red Label Extreme Duty airbags. I'm Daniel with eTrailer. Thanks for watching.